So most of our childhood has revolved around fruit sellers and vendors. That is figuratively speaking, because we are or have been accustomed to solving mathematical questions about selling, shopkeepers selling us watermelons, we purchasing mangoes and whatnot. So this topic today is an ode, sort of an ode to my school teachers, and this deals with the basics. I'm not going to delve into the formulas. I'm not that kind of a teacher. What I have always focused upon, what my school teachers have always emphasized upon, is to go to the basics, and once the basics are clear, then you can solve almost any question. And obviously the level of the questions or examples, sample questions that we are going to discuss are not going to be the level that are asked in IIM, ZAT or GMAT, but my aim is to emphasize the importance and reinforce that enthusiasm, remove that fear among the viewers or the students who are watching this, remove the fear of the basic maths. Okay, but one thing is for sure, when we are done with this lecture, you will be able to grasp not only the basic concepts, but with further practice, you will be able to master whatever questions are asked in the competitive examinations, whether they it be the civil services, the CAPF, CDS, or even the banking exam. So that I guarantee that this topic, what I'm going to discuss, is going to be very useful. So without further bargaining, let's get to it. Okay. So profit, loss, and discount. You all know profit. We have some terms like cost price, selling price, marked price, discount, successive discounts. So profit, companies making profit, fruit sellers making profit. So cost price, obviously when we go shopping, we are purchasing branded items, Nike, Adidas. So obviously the marked price or the cost price is much lower than what they sell at. So that is how they are making commission, or so this is just the introduction. You can pause and read. So profit, SP minus CP, and this is all. Nothing much to discuss about. Okay. Now get to the solving of the question. Before that, I would just like to emphasize some concepts. Okay. So if you can remember this table, if you can note down this table, I want you to note this. I'm just going to write. Pardon my handwriting. Okay, so this is, if you can remember, for example, half fractions, because sometimes what happens when we are dealing with some questions is it is easier to deal with fractions instead of direct percentages in order to get the approximate value. So I'll show how this can be used as a shortcut, but you have to practice, you have to uh, manipulate your mind into thinking that way. Otherwise, we can take x, we can take 100, we can assume any variable and then solve. But in any competitive examination, that time is of essence. So we have to take that into consideration. Okay. So now, basic question. So in order to remove your fear of math, when you see a question, if you're afraid, I used to be in the same position. Just read the question once or twice, what the examiner is asking, and then there is only one approach. There is only one right answer. So there is no scope for manipulation, elimination, like in multiple choice questions. So, so sells same price, profit of 20%, other is a loss, then find the percentage of loss. Though here, though I have written the formula, it's just for the sake. whenever X percent loss, so you can directly read it. But again, we have to go to the basic concept. So first, we are going to go to the basics and we are going to assume it as X. Okay. So if the cost price, if the cost price, if we take the selling price as X, so both the selling prices are same. So X. Now, if we assume the cost price of this, of one on which the profit is made as Y1 and one on which the loss is made as Y2. So what the equation will be if we are obtaining the profit? So Y1 plus 20% of Y1 is equal to X, and Y2 minus 20% of Y2 is equal to X. Okay, so now you can solve this and then apply the formula, and because it's going to be lengthy in nature, you can get Y1 in terms of X, some quantity, and Y2 in terms of X. And then you have to remember the formula profit, the percentage loss. So loss, when you have to calculate, you have to take both into consideration, both the cost price of both the items into consideration and both the selling. So here we will have y1 2x minus y1 plus y2, the total selling price minus the total cost price upon the total cost price into 100. So that is always profit percent or loss percent is always profit on cost price into 100. Okay, so you can derive this now. Now I was talking about fractions. So if we take 100 as the selling price of both, okay, so what will be the cost price? So we can say, okay, in x plus 1.2x is equal to 100. How did I get to this? So x plus 20% of x is equal to 100. X plus 1 by 5 x is equal to 100. 6 by 5 x is equal to 100. 500 by 6. Similarly, if I directly have to, this is x1 and x2, if I have to calculate, this will be 100 upon 80 into 100. I'm just using shortcut here. Okay. So 125. So you will add both the cost price, you will subtract it from the selling price, then divided by the cost price into 100. Okay, you will get the 4%. Now, the interesting part, the shortcut method. For example, when we are talking about fractions, so I said that 20% corresponds to 1 by 5, as I had showed in the table previously. So now we have to take out the profit. If the cost price is more, then we have to consider loss. So x minus 1 by 5 x will be equal to 100. So here you can directly get 4 by 5x is equal to 100 and x is equal to 100 into 5 by 4 is equal to 125, which we got here. Okay, so so if you realize that 20% is 1 by 5, so in order to calculate cost price in terms of SP, you just have to imagine that 1 minus 1 by 5 will be 4 by 5, and the cost price then will become 5 by 4 of x. Similarly, just try to analyze what I just said. Similarly, if we have to consider this was the profit, this was the sorry this was the loss, and in order to calculate the profit, so now it will be added to the cost price. So 1 by 5 plus 1, So 1 plus 1 by 5 is equal to 100, 6 by 5 is equal to 100, and then 500 by 6 is equal to 250 by 3. So if we, this is somewhat of a shortcut. So if you calculate all this, so you will get the answer 4%. You can directly apply the formula. If you haven't got or understood the shortcut, it's like manipulating your brain or making your brain mental maths. Not everything has to be written down with pen and paper. If you exercise this mental maths capability, then it will become very easy. So we'll discuss more examples to reinforce this concept. Fine. So these are just the formulas. You can just pause the slide and view if you are not accustomed to these formulas. Okay. So now selling a watch, SP is 495, 10%. Okay. So again, we can do like this: X minus 10% of X is equal to 495. And then we can get the answer. Okay, because 10%. Now directly, if we consider 10% as, it will be 1 by 10, 1 by 10, 1 minus 1 by 10. So it will be 9 by 10. X is equal to 495. Then 10 will come here, 9. So answer will be 550. So this is the essence or the benefit of remembering the fractions. Otherwise, directly what you can do is that if you regularly practice, so x minus 10%. So like for example 100, if the cost price of an item is 100 and 10% discount is being given, so what will be this simple 90? So what essentially we have done is we have multiplied 100 by zero point 0.9. Okay, so if you are comfortable in decimal way, so you can directly put 0.9x is equal to 495, and then it will come here and you will get again 550. So these are the two methods. This is relatively a simple question. So let us proceed further. Okay. So some shortcuts. Sometimes what happens when you are solving a maths question, a particular option in the choices, it is improbable. So if there is a paucity or scarcity of time, you can directly tick the answer. Okay, that is surely to be correct. So SP of 24 articles equal to CP of 24 articles. Now, upon seeing this, one who is not accustomed to practicing the questions, you might say, okay, 20, this sort of tricky questions. All we have to do is make the number of items which are being sold equal. Okay, so for example, we can take CP of 20 articles as X, SP of 24 articles, since it is equal to CP of 24 articles, it will be X. Now we have to make the quantities same. So SP of 20 articles, again unitary method. I hope you know that. Okay, so 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 5x by 6. So again, loss percentage, this means CP is greater than SP. So X minus 5x by 6 upon X into 100. Now even if without solving, there is like scarcity of time, paucity of time, you see that there is x6 here. So it will be a mixed fraction. The percentage will be in the form of decibel or mixed fraction again. So this is ruled out. Okay. And mixed fraction, that always the numerator should be less than the denominator. Okay, so this is ruled out. The only two feasible options, if you have not solved the question completely, is none of these, or but again, when you see 1 by 6, what I told you, when you convert it into percentage terms, so it comes out to be 16.67% or 16 2 by 3. So you can directly mark this. So I hope now things are becoming lucid and simple, but you need to practice to get a hold of this concept. Right now, I might seem in a hurry. So this is an example in which the fractions will come into picture. They'll be beneficial to cut down the time of solving. So Ravi sells an article at a gain of 12.5. So just read the question. I'm going to just solve it. Okay. So again, 12.5 translates into 1 by 8 in terms of fraction. Okay. So we can say if the cost price is X, again, the basics, they have to be used whenever there is no other option. So 1 by 8 plus 1, it will be like, if I again elaborate in detail, X plus 1 by 8 X will be the selling price. Okay, so it will be 9 by 8x, or you can, again, if you directly do x plus 12.5% of x, then you eliminate. Okay, so you will again get this. So directly you can. So 9 by 8x. Now it is saying, had it sold, had he sold the same product at 22.5 more, he would have gained 25%. So the selling price 25%, 1 by 4. So it 1 plus 1 by 4 will be 5 by 4. Or just to simplify, this will be, if the cost price is x, x plus 25% of x will be the new SP. So we go to 5 by 4 x. Now it will become very easy. So 22.5 is equal to x 5 by 4 minus 9 by 8. Okay, 22.5 is equal to x by this will be x 1 by 8, and x will be 22.5 into 8. Now again, there is no need to go into the basic of fourth, third or fourth class and start multiplying. Okay, it's just simple. So 22.5 is half of 45, 45 is half of 90. So 22.5 we have to do 8 times, or 45 we have to do 4 times, or 90 we have to do 2 times. So the answer is 180. So some, this is the essence how maths, according to me, should be taught. Okay, so marked price, how it is different. For example, you can read the formula, but there, for example, if there is a franchisee store of Nike or Adidas, Puma, so they will purchase a particular shoe or merchandise item at price X, then it is their wish to put the label at their intended price on which they want to make a commission. So they can increase the X and mark it as Y, and then they can decide to offer a discount and mark the selling price as Z. So this is CP. So in this way, this is also a way to make profits. Fine. So we'll just, and discount, you know, the MP or CP when it is sold at a lower price to the customer. So it becomes equivalent to a discount. Okay, so another sample question. So Rakesh allowed 20% discount on the marked price and sold it at 20% profit. How much percent? So just read the question once or twice. Now there are three entities in this. So there are various ways you can start by taking X. Unless and until you are capable enough to use the shortcut methods, you're comfortable with the fractions, just practice according and keep revolving in your mind. You should keep thinking how this the time can be cut down for such questions. So we can take, because between CP, then we have MP, then we have SP, so we can consider middle ground as 100. Whenever the percentage, the answer involves calculating percentage, so you can easily take numbers like 100. Otherwise, if there is an exact cost, then it is preferable to use an exact quantity, a variable X, Y, Z, whatever. So marked price of an article and sold it at 20% profit, so 100 makes it easy. There is no use of you can for fractions here. So to 20% profit, so SP will become 120, and sorry, so SP, the discount will be calculated 20%. So 20%, 100 minus 20% of 100 will be 80. Fine. Now the profit is being made on the cost price. Okay, and it is 20% profit. So again, I can directly go over 80 upon 1.2, because if we take it as xcp, x plus 20% of x will be equal to 80. So again, 1 by 5, so this will 80 into 5 by 6, this will be 3, 2, 4, 200 by 3. Again, some options you might see that again 3, it does not necessarily mean that only A and D, because you solve sometimes you can get the other option. So how much percentage above its cost price, okay, was it marked? So we have to calculate MP minus CP upon CP, because we have to calculate the percentage above the cost price at which the article has been marked. So we do 100 minus 200 by 3. We always take the base value over which we are calculating the profit percentage over the cost price. So we take cost price in the denominator, and then we 100. So again, so this is 3332. So the answer will be 50%. So I hope it is clear by now. Obviously, in the comments, you can write if my writing is not clear or you are unable to understand. But even if my writing is not clear, it is an advantage for you. You can, it gives you an incentive to solve the question by your own means. Okay. Successive discount. So, like you might have 10 plus 20 plus 30 is not necessarily 60%. So we'll do a question on that. So again, successive discounts. Now, single discount, it is not 60%, of course. And obviously, sometimes what happens is by seeing the question, I have this experience that it will be, the answer will be in decimal form. Okay, so you can, this, if you are in a hurry, so you can calculate, and already it is, you see that 40%, if we calculate, so the discount will be less than 40%. Because what happens if we are calculating discount on 100, then 10% will lead to 90, but now the discount 20% will not be applied on 100, it will be applied in 90. And when we are applying percentage on a lower value, then the overall will be less, it will not be 20. For example, 90, the 10% of 90 will be 81. Okay, so discount will be, if we take in rupees, it will be rupees 9 and not rupees 10. Okay, so by this pattern, you can see that if we are short of time and this, you have to approximate the answer. So 40% is gone, 60% is gone, then 35.2, and these are the feasible options. So you can see it always has to be less than 40. So the correct answer will be 35.2. Now, if we do by the conventional method, we, since we have to calculate percentage, so we can take the cost price as 100. So again, 100, 10%. So the next selling price after the first discount 10% will be 10 rupees or 10 units. So it will become 90. So again, you can also be make yourself comfortable in multiplying with decimal. So 10% means we have to multiply the cost price with zero point 0.9, right? So 100 becomes 90, then 90 has to be multiplied by zero point 0.8. How? Because 90 minus 20% of 90, so 1 by 5, 20, this 20%. So fractions, so 90, or directly you can multiply 90 into 0.8, it will give you 72. Okay, so again, if you solve like this, 5, 18, so this will give you 72. And then 72 again, 10%, so 72 minus 10%, or you can directly do 72 into 0.9. Now, of course, there's no need to again calculate all, and so you can see that 9 into 2 gives us 18, but you have to calculate single discount percent, not the SP percentage. And SP obviously cannot be in percentage. So this will be the correct answer. This will be the selling price in terms of 100, and when 100 you will from 100 you subtract this, you will get this. Fine. Okay. Now this is one of the concepts which I myself took a long time to understand because I tend to go to the basics again. Sometimes false weight, the mischievous miscreant shopkeeper can use. Have you seen Nayak? In Nayak, they that Anil Kapoor was. Anyways, so this is the direct formula. You can read what is happening. So, for example, we directly go to the question. So, a dishonest dealer professes so that he says, okay, I'm selling at the cross price. That is, that whatever the article or tomatoes, potatoes, vegetable, whatever I purchased, I'm going to sell it at the same price at which I purchased it. But he is using 900 grams for per 1 kg of weight. Now I'm going to break it down so that the concept is clear. Okay. So now what is happening is that instead of that, suppose the 1,000 grams of the item actual price at which he purchased is X, suppose. Then he is selling 900 grams for the price of 1,000 grams. Are you realizing? Just read the question again. So he is selling 900 by the means of false weight. So he is putting only 900 grams. But on the other side of the balance of the tarazu, he has put a false weight. So if we put a balance scale, so this will be the issue. So 900 grams, he's only selling 900 at the price of 1,000 for which is purchased. Now, earlier question we discussed, in order to calculate the gain percent or any kind of percent, we have to make the quantities equal. So here 9,000, you can say, so 9,000, the cost price was X. So 900, it he he purchased, or it was for him 9 by 10 into X. So this is the actual cost price at which he purchased 900 grams, but he is selling 900 grams at the price of 1,000 grams for which he purchased. So again, so we have X minus, to calculate gain percent, upon 9 by 10 X, which is the profit. This is the cost price into 100. So then we have 1 by 10 into 10 by 9 into 100, and 1 by 9, I had told you, this is corresponds to 11. 1 by 9 again, fractions come into play. So if you just go through this lecture again, this might seem tedious to many of you or who have lost touch with maths or school maths, but profit, loss, and discount will revolve these kinds of techniques only. Okay, and if you develop more techniques, you can suggest more shortcuts, you can share in the comments. Okay, so I hope this session was beneficial for you. So keep calm, keep studying, and this is a good way to uh, f- relax also. If you solve maths, for me, it has always been during my competitive examination preparation days. So whenever I'm tired of studying history, geography, polity, I go to this as my last resort. So till we meet next time, Jai Hind.